Now
Make this happen.
let's do it. We're good for time too, Steve. I reckon we can do this. You'll
Rock
pick it
and
up
roller.
real quickly. iPad, phone, iPad, share. Yeah. Always does this to me. Zoom. All right. Here we go. Cool. All right. First things first that I want to talk to you about is character. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is something for you to fill out to really understand who you're going to be to your who. Now, it's broken down into 4 parts. When you speak, you don't have to always mention all of them. But if just like anything, like if we're practicing to, dribble a ball or put up shots or whatever it is, it's just practicing, a few at a time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, the grand slam or the slam dunk is when you use and you tell your story. So maybe you're on stage, right? Or you're going to present to a workshop and you're going to tell your story. This would be the overview in which to tell it, okay, is to describe your character in this way. So this is an awesome framework. I learned it off my mentor, Caleb Essa, and he of his. And it's just an awesome, really clear way in how to describe who you are, right? And so what we want to, I'll just go through and sort of tell you what each of them mean, okay?
Yeah.
And let them sink in, and then I'll let you go away and come up with them. Happy to check over them or help you out with it if needed. But essentially, 0 to hero is usually starts with, a bit of your story. Yeah?
Yep.
And then it's like, this is where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I've gone to. Yeah? So then, and now. Yeah? Just a small snippet. So, let me just see. If I look at my character, I would say, does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like 0 to hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? It's like, growing up on a farm back in New Zealand, I had my 2 brothers around me. My mum, she worked, she studied, she worked, she was a single mum. And like when I came to Australia, I came here with $500 that my grandfather gave me, and I was really just prepared to work. And I sort of dropped out of university twice and just wanted to work my way up. I knew that there was some opportunity over here in Australia, but I didn't really understand the journey that I was about to partake on, really. I came over here for opportunity, and, now I'm talking to you as a coach, as a businesswoman, as somebody who spends her time empowering other people to build their business and to start up and stay up. Now, pause. That would be like a snippet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep.
And that was very on the fly, but you get the story. It's like you can tell that it's sort of like hometown boy, girl, just done good. Like normal.
Yep.
Like normal upbringing, and now this. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Normal or not so good upbringing, and now this is where I am. Yeah? 0 to hero. And so to continue that, it would be, I never thought. That's how this sentence usually starts. Or if you had have told me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So where was I? I never knew the journey that I was about to partake when I actually came to Australia. Now, 10 years ago, if you had have told me, if you ever had have told me that I would be someone who doesn't drink alcohol, as a minimum, spends her time creating and empowering other people, runs workshops, works with clients, and is very, fulfilled in doing so, I would have told you you're having a laugh. Like, I just wouldn't have been able to fathom that.
Mm-hmm.
That just didn't exist for me. Got it?
Yep.
It's that feeling like you are having, like, if you ever had told me this, I would have told you, haha.
Yeah.
I never thought.
Telling me dreaming.
You gotta be, you would have been, you are shitting me. Like, get out of here. Yeah, so it's that right.
Mm-hmm.
I put right because in New Zealand there's a famous ad. It's a Tui ad. And everything, like on billboards and everything. Tui is a famous New Zealand beer.
Mm-hmm.
And the billboards are always some sort of statement, and then it's always, right. But this is the small one for any Kiwis that watch this, they will resonate. So that's the right part. It's telling your audience that essentially, if you can do it, they can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And really depicting like the journey that you've been on. So Us First Them is a nice one where you can, there's something like you're telling a story here of either where people doubted you, or you can use it in that context. So people doubted or laughed, criticized, whatever. So an example of that is like, it was really weird for my friends and my family at first. They didn't really understand what this personal development stuff I was doing, and people had their serious doubts about whether or not I was going to, actually do something with this. I'd done things in the past and they didn't really work out. It's like that.
Yep, gotcha.
So any doubts, or another context or another frame you can look at it through is if you had have told me blah blah blah, you can also go into what, like, Us First Them means what you do versus what everyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do well versus what other people do. So if I give you the context of sales, this is a really just a simple one. So it's like, if you have ever told me that I'd be a gun at sales, I was going to Mexico because I want a high ticket sales trip whilst building a business, I would have laughed at you because I hated sales, right? And I grew to really become resentful of it. But now when I look at sales, I believe that sales is all about, sales is an attitude. And when we wear it well, like our favorite lipstick, or, if you don't wear lipstick, then favorite pair of shoes, when we wear it well with love and with intention, then we can really go a long way. And in the market, these days, traditionally, sales is about just getting it done. So I do resonate with why people, have hang-ups or things around it. But I'm here to say sales is an attitude. And if we can learn this, then we can become really good at it. So you can take it through that frame as well, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. And then you top it off with now, after investing, learning. So now, after having invested over $32,000 in my own personal development, spending X amount of time, in seminars, working with mentors, whatever it is you want to put down here. Basically, you're displaying your expertise and what you've done. After having run X amount of workshops, after having worked with X amount of clients. Yep. Now what I can really say is that this is just the beginning. I've truly, and then insert your message. Do a bit of Milton For those of you that don't know what Milton is, it's all good. I'm just having an inside laugh with Steve. So insert your message.
What was those? What, now I can say that. What was that bit?
So after having invested over $32,000 in my own personal development, now I truly believe that I have the power. And I truly believe that you too have the, like, I truly believe that I have the power. And as I'm talking to you, I really want to remind you that this is your time. This is your time. Because if not now, then when?
Yeah.
And if you do decide, then that means. And that'll make you blah, blah, blah. Yeah?
Yep, gotcha.
Cool. So it's essentially you're just humbly telling them about your expertise. And what gives you the right to say this message? Well, this is why. This is how much I've invested. This is how much I have, how much time and learning and education and money and energy I've put into my journey.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, you're almost validating your expert level.
That's it. Validating your expert level. Cool. Awesome. Any questions?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Awesome. Have a crack at that. But it's powerful when you can use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's it's a real good way to introduce yourself, to tell them who you are and why you're doing what you do.
Absolutely. And it's also really good for you to step into that attitude. So every time you write a piece of content, you resonate, like you remember who you are and where you've come from and what you're here to say.
Yeah. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Cool. So now the content becomes really powerful because not only do you know who they are, what you help them with, and who you are, right? I mean, like, not only do you know who they are and what you do, it's like now you know who you are and you're bringing that into the content.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really leading from here.
Yep.
Awesome. So the next piece I want to share with you is we're now heading into the 3 levels of problem that I was talking to you about. But before I do that, I just want to give you some quick context because this is really important, because not everyone, when we talk about problems, not everyone is aware of that they have a problem. Like, not everyone is searching for solutions. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that they're not in need of a solution. It just means that they might be a little bit dormant to the fact that they have a problem. Yeah?
Yep.
Awesome. So just some quick just a quick layout. Obviously, the smallest top of the triangle, there's actually 4 pieces. So I'm going to split that there, where we've got people who are problem aware.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, I should say, ready to rock, ready to buy. Yeah, they're ready to solve the problem. Yeah. These next lot, the next lot of people are curious. So they're like searching on Google. Yeah, they're getting curious, but they're not actually like buying anything. These guys are like, shit, I've got a massive problem and I need to do something about it now. Yeah?
Yep.
So these are your hot. Down here is what we would call our warm market. Mm-hmm. So we've got curious. So they're just clicking away on Google, asking their mates about, similar things. But they're aware. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they're problem aware, but they're not doing anything. Yeah? Mm-hmm. They're not actively doing anything. They're not looking for solutions. They're not looking for help. Their pain's not big enough, if you like.
Yep. It's all over the pain versus pleasure model.
All right. And their problem is not clear enough. Mm-hmm. Pain not big enough because their problem's not big enough or clear enough. The pain is, let me say that again because that's really key. The pain is not big enough, therefore, that's because the problem's not clear enough. They don't know. And so that's part of the sales process that I'm going to take you guys through, is how to bring clarity to somebody's problem.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So this last part, and this constitutes for like 50% of people, right? 50% of your market are cold, and they are absolutely, actually these guys, so these guys are problem aware in this part, but they're not doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are just not aware at all. Yeah, they are asleep. You could tell them straight to their face that they've got a problem, they wouldn't believe you.
Yep.
So, in hindsight, cool. It's probably really easy to sell to these guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And probably these ones. Yeah, depending on the rapport or what connection you had. And so your market, I think these numbers, because it's like, this is like 20%. That's like 3%. You're hot,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's like 17, I think it is. These numbers are a bit screwed up, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But this is definitely like half your market, right? So, yeah, okay. It's easy just to wait there with your fishing rod and, you know, just wait for people in this category to rock up. But wouldn't it be better if we had a way to talk to the whole of our market? And then we had different approaches for the different segments of our market.
Mm. Yep.
Yep. So I'm going to take you through that from a content perspective today. And then in the following weeks, after we've looked at designing a program and all of that, in the conversion piece, we're going to look at how to actually convert people that are cold and also convert people that are warm and hot. Obviously, the top ones are easier, right? But it's like the groundwork we're doing here with the content is warming these people up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just about to say I'd be interested to see how you sell to cold, but I now understand. Yeah, because I've got a concept of when they're cold, it's like holding onto an ice cube. You can only hold onto it for 4 or 5 seconds. That's the attention span that you got. Yep. And as you give them more content, they start to warm.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep. And they just melt in your hand. Mm-hmm. So it's like, when we can talk to all of our market and we, like through this content, you will warm your market. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is very entry, like the SoulTrader implementation program is doing the groundwork, but there are other avenues that you can take. For example, you can speed that up a little bit, get the hairdryer out on the ice cubes and just, melt them with the hot water, right? Which would be doing things like paid leads, lead magnets, etc. Okay, and having that automation set up, which I can't really cover in this program, but this is the foundations that one must have to at least know how to drive the manual, right? Yeah. Behind the content.
Yeah. I've already got a CRM all set up and everything. So,
beautiful.
It's rocking and rolling.
Awesome. What are you using?
I can never remember the name of the damn thing. Hang on a minute. Let me call it up. Active Campaign.
Nice. That's the one you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's it's good. Good. I use it for my newsletter. I use it for capturing people who opt into things such as my free guides, and also use it then to market my workshops and stuff like that.
Beautiful. That's the one, Steve. You got it. That's the one I use.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So,
and it's easy to use.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So that you know what I'm talking about. It's about taking, there are those other avenues. This is about doing the manual work and understanding what's going on behind our content.
Yeah, and you still got to do the manual to understand everything else.
That's it. Cool. So now this is where we're going to, this is where we're really going to break it down. Just give me a second, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good for another 15, 20?
Yeah, no worries. I've paused the block, so.
Awesome. Okay, give me 1 sec, mate. What can you see now? Yeah,
Some dude standing on his head.
Yeah, it's doing tricks. Where is that thing? Oh, got it. Okay. Signature. Okay, there's the screen. Share. Okay, dokie. Black pen. Awesome. So essentially, what I'm going to take you through is the core, right? The core. So this would be like the core. This is like the crud, and this is like the crust. Okay. So you want to start. We want to talk to people and start in this block. You can't see where I'm pointing. Yeah. We want to start in this block because if we come in too deep, they'll shy away. So this is where it sort of comes down to, we want to talk about some of the stuff that they're aware about, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they are talking. So they are talking about it. So if we look back at, and this is why we wrote it out in depth, but if we look at the airplane exercise at the very start under your who, essentially if you've got all those lists of their inside fears and their inside frustrations, their external frustrations, external fears, we can literally just plonk those words and those themes into this content, right?
Yep.
So on a crust level, there's some. Hold on, Steve. I need to find something, but I need to get off my iPad. Can you just bear with me?
Sure. Yeah, no worries. I'm just going to go back to that first one.
Can you do that? That will be helpful.
Yeah. Who's my who?
Who's my who? Where is it?
Is this the one? The frustrations inside,
Yes,
frustrations outside.
Yep. Just have a little squiz over that while I just find something. Where the bloody hell is it? 2. That's something pretty cool. All right. This has got to be it. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Anyway, I'll rock on without it. Can't find it. I wanted to pull it up on my screen so I could show it to you, but it's all good. Where am I? Go back. Okay. iPad. Okay. All right. So let's get back to it. When we talk to people, they've got stuff that they're willing to talk about, and that's generally the frustrations. and the frustrations and the wants. They'll talk about that stuff. Are talking about, okay? Or for better language, I'm going to go ahead and say open to talking about, to acknowledging. Right, so there's some stuff that people are open to acknowledging, and they are aware of it. Okay, so that's those are the two sides to it. All right, so if you look at your list, and you just, can you give me one of your outside frustrations?
Yep, loss of money and the bottom line's affected.
Now, from your experience, people are pretty open to talking about that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like if you're doing a discovery call or, something along those, or having a conversation with one of the business owners, they're generally pretty okay to tell you about that stuff.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. So they're quite willing to talk about that.
Exactly. And so where we want to take them to is we want to say, now look, what's general? So now this is an area where they're like not really willing to go to. Okay, so they're aware, but they're not talking about it, not acknowledging, and they're not really talking about it. Okay, so so this is where we have to, we sort of need to start languaging in a way where it's softer. So we can say something like, and I'll give you an example as we get there. But when we get down to the crud, it's like we want to give them a message that will speak to the core problem, right? But we don't want to come in too heavy, because then they'll get freaked out and then they won't stay there. So when we talk, we want to lead them down to this place by saying something along the lines of, like, look, what's generally happening here is that people are blah, blah, blah. And you soften it, right? So we want to soften the message. So I think, is this making sense?
Yes, yeah, it is, yeah.
Awesome. So let's just go with, what was one of the ones on your sheet?
Is this a frustration, an outside frustration?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the loss of money and the bottom line being impacted or affected.
Awesome. Let's just go with, for a second, bottom line being impacted. Yeah. Or loss of money. Let's go with loss of money, because everyone can relate to that.
Yep.
And now you've just told me that on several occasions, the business owners driving some of this, okay? Driving the dysfunction in the teams. So if we just try that on for a moment, now that could be some sort of self-esteem thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Down here. Now, if you wrote a post going, if you're a business owner, you might want to just check yourself, right? And see if what you're doing is affecting your team. Now, if a business owner is reading that and that is actually happening for them, but they've got some sort of self-esteem issues around, their masculine energy, and this is how they portray it, and it's like deeper, then they're not going to read that message. They're just going to be like, ooh, nope. So
ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, ain't got nothing to do with me. Not talking to me. So we want to start at the top. So you could go, something along the lines of, in your business, make more money in your business, or something like that. Okay, this is very high level. Are you open to making more money in your business? Yes. Yeah. And they're aware. And then you could go into something like, are your results stagnating because of, the energies in your team, or something like that? And then they'll be like, yes, yes, yes. So the aim of the game with this first statement, here's the trick, is you want to get them nodding. If you can do that by talking to stuff that they are aware of and they're open to acknowledging, then we're on a roll. Yeah, so they're like nodding. So are you wanting to make more money in the business, but are your results stagnating at the moment because of dysfunction in your teams? Yes, yes, yes. And are you losing money because of that? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Then you lead them into the second part, which is along the lines of, well, what's generally happening here is that people are blah blah blah. Yeah. So what's generally causing this is blah blah blah, and you can give some expertise here. So whatever it is, right, bring some sort of awareness. So what's generally causing this to happen is that the team members look up to the team leaders or to the business owners, and there are different energies happening here, and the business owner would want to be aware of these. And so it's just like, and they're like nodding even further. Okay. So they're nodding and they're agreeing. So they're agreeing. Okay. They're agreeing with you. And so once you have them nodding and it's softened, so the key here is the softened language, and we're leading them deeper, then you can go into the fear. Then you can go into the next level, which is taking them into the core reason.
Yep.
And so from my experience, or however you want to word it, or what a common one. So usually the phrase is what's actually happening. Because it's like, that's what you came here to say first, but you couldn't lead with that. So what's actually happening here is blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And you would state the core, the real message. But it's worded in a way where they're bought into you because they were nodding and they were agreeing. Make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. You're basically warming them up, aren't you? You just it's almost like a jab, punch.
Yep. Because down here, let me get another color. But down here, they're not aware. Yeah. Or from our experience, there might be a bit of shame around it. Yeah. So this one is they're aware, but it's hidden. Yeah.
Yep.
And this one it's not hidden. The top one is they're open.
Yep.
Yeah? Yep. And so this one is actually that, like it's a fear or a shame.
Yep.
So we just want to warm them up into the message.
Yeah. It's almost like it's just like coaching. Coaching's, just raising their unconscious awareness to a level of consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's exactly what we do in coaching. It's just this is around the problem. It's saying, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is, how it can portray itself.
Yep.
But the real underlying reason is this.
That's right.
Yeah, and they'll go, oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. Because you can understand that if we come in hot, with the if we come in deep and we just talk straight to their shame or straight to their fear, it's like they're not playing that game. They're not going to like that post. They're not going to interact because they're just like, ooh, nah, no thanks, not for me.
That ain't me.
Yeah, that's not me. And they'll just continue to be in their, shame, if you like. So it's very important that we sort of warm them up and we give them a safe space. So it's very important for soft language, when we are leading them further down.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, cool. So just tell me like how you would use that, or what's useful out of that.
So, if I was to give you an example from one of my things, let me just put my glasses back on so I can see because I'm getting old now. So, I would be saying something along the lines of, so are you noticing the that your bottom line is being affected in your business at the moment, that your income is being, impacted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say to lead them on. So what's generally causing this, is the team element or the staff element of your business. They're not interacting well with the clients, or they're not interacting well with each other. And what I really experience and what's actually happening is they're being dysfunctional. And the bottom line is that's impacting your cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And you need your cash flow to be able to operate.
Awesome. And then just can you underline this? Make it sexy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd make it much sexier than that. That was just off the cuff.
Nice. And that's a really good job. But just remember that for everything you do, make it sexy.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Now we're going to go into the last one, and this is going to be epic, and you can sort of fuse these two together. Bear with me. Okay, gotcha. Okay, good. All right, home stretch. Now you'll see I'll put a couple copies in here just so you can play around with them. Now this design is originally from Matt Church, okay, and the design is, or the original frame and the original name of this is called a pink sheet. Have you heard of this before?
A pink sheet? Nope.
I don't really get why, but anyway, it's an awesome framework. So I've just called it the content blueprint, but it's actually called a pink sheet. I just couldn't describe why it was a pink sheet, so I just didn't call it that. But anyway, I learned it from Taki Moore, and this is just epic. You're going to use this when you create a program as well. It's a framework for anything, really. Hey, what's that? It can be used to help you fill in the blanks with that little framework we did, like with the 3 levels of problem, or you can use it on its own for content. Okay, it's a powerhouse. It is truly a powerhouse when it comes to putting content out there. So let me get my colors. All right, now there are 3 points to this blueprint when you create the content, and these points are the following. We've got concept, we've got context, and we have got content. Okay, essentially this is your map and your blueprint to putting out a piece of content. Cool. And so all you have to do is drop in the stuff that you want them to see. Right? Cool. Let me just make this bigger. 1 second. Oh, where did it go? Gotcha. Is this all right in terms of...
Yeah. No, I can see it. I can.
Awesome. Cool. So essentially, we're turning our ideas into intellectual property through this content blueprint, right?
Yep.
And it can be used for a lot of different things. So here's the idea. Now, I know I've used this in one of in the previous models, is that, think about, let me give you a good analogy. If I think about an awesome metaphor, let's go with, it's a summer day, right? And I open the fridge or the freezer, and there's that cool, that cold air or that cold steam that comes out, and you're just like, oh, that's so cool. And it's like, but you can't touch it. Yeah. You can't do anything with it. It's like steam or mist, right? But when that, when you take water, because like mist, steam, turns into water, right? You take that water and you freeze it, then you can touch that ice cube in your hand, right?
Yep.
So it's like, here's a better one. if we're in the shower, right, and there's steam everywhere, and it's like, oh wow, all the steam, and it's like we can't touch the steam, like we can't touch it. It's just mist.
Mm-hmm.
But the steam cools down, and then it turns to water, like on the walls. We can touch that. We've got it on our fingers, but we can't pick it up. But if you were to cool that water down even further, put it in the freezer, then you would be able to hold the ice cube. You'd be able to throw it around. You'd be able to do whatever you wanted with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Eat it, drink it. So essentially, this is what we're doing here with this content blueprint, is we're taking our ideas from steam to ice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that it's 3-dimensional, because that's what an ice cube is. Like steam is just it's just steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then water, it's sort of, again, it doesn't have that full dimension. We can't pick it up. But turning it into ice, then we're creating a 3-dimensional idea for people to sink into and to pick up and take away.
Yep.
Awesome. Digging it?
Totally digging it.
Awesome. So with this blueprint, we've there is a point. Like, you want to think of a point that you want to make. Let me do this to make it a bit easier. So in here lives the point of you actually doing the content, right? So what's the point? And it's just 1 times like a bumper sticker. Yeah?
Yep.
So, for example, get a 1-way ticket to Functional Land or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell is that? Yeah? Doesn't really make sense. It's just a short slogan. Yeah?
Yep.
And then underneath that point, you're going to have 1 times explanation of the point. What is my spelling doing? Cool. To back it up. And I'll show you some examples that I've got in here just to really bring it home.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what is the point? It's just something that doesn't make, let me give an example.
So is this the steam part?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm. You can't really touch that.
Yep.
And the context is like the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then your content is what? Or either way.
Yep.
So now what we're going to do, and this is why I want you to look at it from this perspective: outside, inside. You remember the fairs and stuff that we did?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yep. So everything is through the model of that cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
So outside, inside. Now, this is something that I just came up with myself, but it makes a lot of sense. When I take you through it, you'll be like, oh, yeah. Outside, inside. All right. So let's go ahead, get some different colors and break this down. So for the content, we're going to back it up with supporting stuff, right? So this is where our stuff goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Supporting stuff. And I'll tell you what's going to go in here in a moment, and then you can jazz it up. And then with the context, we're then going to paint a clearer picture. Okay? Mm-hmm. So paint a clear picture.
So you're supporting stuff. Would that be like evidence?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Spot on. So in our supporting stuff, let's get a small pen. All right. So is this all so far so good?
Yep, totally.
Awesome. So generally we're going to start at the point. All right. So you're going to start here. Start here. And then you're sort of going to do this, okay? Well, you can start wherever, really, but you're just going to keep going like this. But the point of it is that you keep coming back to the point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like you can go in any order you want here, but the whole idea is come back to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These boxes here, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one are all designed to back up that point.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just doing a massive figure eight to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can say, you can make a point and just give lots of stuff to that point, but it doesn't mean that they buy it.
Yep.
This is why I wanted to give you the framework and get you to understand the psychology behind it, because when we're actually talking to their inside desires and their inside fears and stuff,
mm-hmm.
and their outside desires and frustrations. Okay.
Yep.
So you're essentially talking to those. That's why we made the list.
Mm-hmm.
So what goes in, usually start at story. That's where I usually start. But you want to tell a story. Tell a story that backs the point up. So you heard me talking about my grandmother's cakes?
Yep.
Yeah. So the point that I was making was that to throw shit at the wall doesn't always work, and that we need a framework, right? And so I told you about my grandma's cakes and that she was just throwing shit, and that's what I thought, but she was actually freestyling within a framework. So it's a story that backs up the point.
Mm-hmm.
Cool?
Totally.
Nice. Now, the other words for these are emotion and logic. Now, I'll go deeper into cognitive dissonance in the sales piece, but essentially it's emotion and logic. That's how we experience our world. Two ways, right? So once we've told the story, usually start at the story. It's cool to just start there. And that gets the emotion going. Yeah? Because it's like, did you try and picture what my grandma looked like, or were you thinking about my grandma when I was telling that story? Or
yeah, I just had an image of an older lady throwing shit in a mixing bowl, mixing it all up, and you sitting there going, "That's genius. That's lovely."
Yeah. So it's just about getting that emotion happening. Okay. Now, for the outside, it's what you said before. Okay, it's anything like stats, facts, models. Yeah, short ones, or maybe not models. Process. Case studies, evidence, results. Cool?
Yep.
Testimonials if you want. Yeah, one client did this as a result of blah. Yeah? Cool. So that's all your stuff, right? Your story and then your stuff. So logically, you can't argue with stats, right? Or facts.
Yep.
Or process. Because it's logic. So that's taking care of the logical side of things. And some people are more, logical than emotional, right? So now we're talking to both. Do you see the power in this?
Yep. Yeah, you're covering all bases.
That's right. And what even more than that, again, which we'll cover in the sales piece, is that this is how a problem gets formed. So I showed you that triangle before.
Yep.
Well, when people are problem not aware, then it's because in their mind, their world around their problem hasn't been built out. So they're walking around with like quarter of a problem because it's not clear in their mind.
Yep.
But when we start to talk to things like this and we paint a clear picture, we get out the paint and we're like, the problem is becoming clearer. And you're not even selling here, but you are. Yeah?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
It's powerful stuff. Now, up here at the top, where we're giving context, okay? So now we're moving into painting a clearer picture. We've given the stuff, told a story, we've given facts, process, da-da-da-da. Now we're going to move up into the context of what we're talking about, like the context of the point, right? Now this is where we share like diagrams. So you see how I'm drawing on a diagram, and like every time I go and show you the how, I come back to some sort of like this thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's diagrams, it's models, it's anything that has this, yeah.
Yep.
And just drawing out your models. Cool.
Totally.
And so it's just to back up the point. Always to back it up. To back up point.
Yep. So this is your visual people.
That's it. And it's also very logical, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna insert metaphor. Okay? This is key. That's an inside. So now what you're doing is you're taking a metaphor and you're saying the same thing in a metaphor that backs up the point, that backs up the model.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool?
Cool beans.
Metaphor that backs up model. And also the whole point. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you some examples. Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Where's me some examples? Here's one that you'll absolutely understand because I did it in the program. This is how you build a program with these. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you'll recognize this one. Every hero has their own city. Do you remember me saying that?
Yep.
It's a bumper sticker, right? Explanation, we do our part to save the world and we take care of where we care about. Yep. Like Batman, like Superman.
Yep.
And then I don't know if I told, these are old, so I don't know if I told the story exactly like that, but I just told a story of, the superheroes.
Yep.
Right? And, I was going to, I don't think I said it like this. So it's like, what I did was I moved over to this piece and I started talking about, just like TCI, they teach coaches how to coach. Tony Robbins, he teaches personal development. Caleb Lesser, he teaches, my mentor, he teaches sales to people.
Yep.
Robert Kiyosaki, he teaches financial literacy and education. It's like, you can't argue with that because that's what they do. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it also backs up the point. So you can see this happening. You can just see this happening. And then at the top, I think the model was the avatar piece. Yeah?
Yep.
So know your who and your what.
Yep.
Right? And then the metaphor is by Mother Teresa. I didn't use this one. But it's, if each of us would only sweep our own doorstep, the whole world would be clean.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's just a quote or a metaphor that's well known that brings up the point, right?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so, as you can see, this I'm running a training for you, and I'm using pink sheets or content blueprint, right? When I run a webinar, I use these. It's like, this is what it's like. It's like pulling out. It's like having a clear file and you just pull out content. Yeah. It just makes it so much easier. And look, this stuff I talk about in lives, this stuff I talk about to people, it's like toolkit, pull it out, depending on the point you want to make. So you do the work once and you fill out these pink sheets. You can do them as many times as you want, and then you've got them there.
Yep. No, it makes perfect sense. It's a great way to be able to also brainstorm content.
Yeah.
To dig even deeper. So I was saying earlier on, this has helped me clarify what's actually going on and how I can language it. If I can back that up with, stats, facts, processes, case studies, find a model that it's going to resonate with, and then give them a metaphor that it's going to stick with. For me, that's even more gold. That's just making it even clearer.
Yeah. And the key thing here that that I want you to take away is the power of this content in the pink sheets, because when I take you through the sales method, it is exactly like that, but now you're closing the sale. You're converting it, and you're signing on the dotted line. This is just building relationships, but you're warming it up. Yeah? So your content is essentially like, your content is building out a problem clear enough, and you're the one that's painting it. And so people are going, who's this person? They're mind reader, they're doing something to me, and I'm feeling something, and I'm seeing the logic in it. What are they doing? I need to be with them. That's what it does. Yeah.
Love it.
So next week, I'm going to take you through, I was going to do it this week, but I thought, nah, it's more appropriate for designing programs. But I teach you how to take these blueprints and put them into format. Yeah? So you just insert them into the what piece of format. Yeah? Format. That's used everywhere. And then using format to build out the online program. Yeah?
Love it.
That's the next step.